Good morning and welcome to the Capital Gang. I am Oscar Semoyam Soke, and this morning I have Ofono Pondo in the studio in a fancy flowery shirt. A bit big on the size, maybe because he's been doing a lot of exercise. Is that the case? Good morning. I beg your pardon? This is what?
Curtain-like material.
You see, it is a beach wear.
You see,
it's cottage story, so it's.
I said the curtain-like, so I didn't state with certain.
So if you come from Chazanga and you have just sprouted in Kampala, you have little appreciation of style and standard and class.
He's never been to a beach.
No, he has never been. Thank you, Oscar. And you see, it is now sunny, so you need the loose
shirt.
Yeah, loose shirt. Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, I've been in gallivanting in the Teso side. I'm glad to be back in a long way after long.
Back, yes. Tell me about farming in northern Uganda.
Northern Uganda, there's good land there. All that belt of Teso, Lama, Choli, and up to Zomba, I should say. Expansive. So for people who want to do extensive modern farming, whether crops or livestock, it is the place. Now that peace and stability has returned, we need big people with big money, not big people in government, but big people with big money, with big ideas to go and transform that place. One of the things I'm finding out, particularly in Teso, is that we, the educated, the ones who got education and who got good jobs in Kampala, throughout since 60s, we never went back to invest. And consequently, we left the village to people who hadn't got education. Even this harassment of Karamajong, partly in my view, yes, the state should provide overall security, but partly my view is that if you have a peasant's cow stolen and it's the peasant calling the DPC will take his time to respond. The DSO will take his time to respond. The cow will take his time to respond if people want water. But if you have a Semuju, you have Kateshumbwa, you have Ofono, you have Oscar, who have invested there. If a cow is stolen from Oscar's kraal, Oscar will come on Capital Gang, will make noise. The Minister of Defense, the Minister of Internal Affairs, the police people will not sleep. And they will tackle that criminality vigorously. And I think now I'm beginning to see.
Actually, now the cameras are helping us. We have cows stolen in Shema. We have used the police cameras on the highway.
On the highway. Now, what's the Semuju song about the Balad? I think people in northern Uganda are not chasing the Balad. What they are disagreeing with is their own elites who connive, taking advantage of the ignorance of the local people. You discover that somebody has signed off either family land or clan land or community land. But if things are done transparently, I don't see any problem. You don't hear much of that complaint in Teso Belt now. But there are people from
Teso Belt who are fighting Karamajong.
Yeah, there are
not
people from outside Teso, people from Bukedi, where they don't have land. You find there people from Bunyori, people from West Budama, people from Samia, who are there legitimately through transparent means.
Yes, so most welcome to Gang, Honorable Katesh, Honorable Semuju, Malcolm Pamizo. Honorable Semuju, were you one of those that were bounced at Lubowa Hospital once again?
No, I have not gone to Lubowa. I was supposed to have gone with the leader of opposition because I am now a member of his shadow cabinet, but I didn't make it. But I think he went with colleagues knowing that maybe they will bounce them. I saw a photograph in Monitor yesterday of the Honorable Roth Acheng, the Permanent Secretary of Health, Diana Atwine, and the Honorable Thomas Tayewa. By that time, he was an MP for Ruhinda. They had been bounced, the Minister of Health and her permanent secretary. Yet the agreement that government signed with Enrica Pinetti, that angel like investor, the agreement was that the Ministry of Health will be the executing agency on behalf of Uganda, because maybe those who are not familiar with it. First, there was a discussion that nobody knew about between President Museveni and Enrica. Then it was formalized by Minister of Health writing to Solicitor General to clear an agreement that government of Uganda will be the one I don't know, maybe guarantee, not just guarantee, but we're the ones supposed to be paying for the promissory notes. If you want to put it in ordinary language, Enrica was supposed to go and borrow money from banks. Our undertaking as a government was that we will be the one cashing that loan for a period of 8 years, and then the facility will become Uganda's. Initially, the Solicitor General said there was no need for parliamentary clearance. I think along the way they realized that no, it falls under Parliament. They came Parliament running that this agreement we must guarantee immediately, because if not, we are going to begin paying fines, and the hospital was supposed to have been constructed in two years. But that agreement where we are guaranteeing that we will pay and we will buy the facility, the Minister for Health was supposed to be the executing agency for Uganda. The latest report of the Auditor General says the Minister of Health government was supposed to have a resident engineer working with the Enrica, the Angel Ike investors engineer, for them to be clearing certificates for payment, because so far we have paid $156 million, about 550 billion. That payment is for us to eventually acquire the facility in 8 years. So the Enrica was supposed to be building, the resident engineer on behalf of government certifying that actually I'm satisfied by this stage, and then government will be paying. Unfortunately, the government engineer was chased away. The Enrica's engineer is the one who originates certificate and certifies them and presents for payment. But the core of the Auditor General is that, yes, that continued for some time. But even that process of the investors engineer issuing a certificate stopped, but payment continued. And the Auditor General says the payment that has been made without any certificate is worth $70 million. So you can imagine why Enrica will not want anyone to enter there. And the going there of the Honorable Senyo and his team was not actually to access the facility per se, but to continue raising the profile of that scandal. That you guys, as you are sleeping, this thing is still ongoing. And maybe that's why you have it today as part of the discussion. So that's where we are, Oscar, as a country. This Enrica in Uganda speaks only to Mr. Museveni. I have been told by NRM people that even when they go for meetings where she's invited, she's just barking at people. So there is a huge fear. When we are doing the budget, the Honorable Kateshumba and I sit on the budget committee.
But Honorable Senyo, did she come to Parliament?
I said the NRM.
Oh.
Yeah, I said NRM MPs have told me if she was coming to Parliament, I will be the one telling you. But he has been in one of the meetings. The point I'm making is she refused to come. She can't come. So someone who can say a Minister of Health will not enter to inspect a facility that she's supposed to be overseeing on behalf of government, how can she be summoned by Parliament?
So why are you blaming them?
Blaming who?
The NRM MPs.
No, I am sympathizing, actually, not blaming them. That even when they have gone for internal meetings where at least they can extract some explanation, she's just barking at them. I asked the chairperson of the committee on health, the Honorable Ayume, when we are processing the budget framework paper, why he was not reporting on Lubowa, yet Lubowa is part of health. And the Honorable Dr. Ayume told the committee on budget that actually health, Lubowa has since been moved from health to Prime Minister's office. We had drama in Parliament this week. When the issues of Lubowa came, the Honorable Nakadama, one of the deputies to Nabanja, said, I will ask health. And then I told her, please, this matter was moved from health to your office. And he said, I am not aware. So really, Lubowa is such an interesting thing that nobody in government except Mr. Museveni can touch it, can speak about it. And it is a scandal that has been in the offing. Maybe now we're at a point of no return because money is paid, work is not done, the agreement is not executed. So it's real chaos. And I don't think anyone will ever be permitted by Enrica Penetti to get closer to her facility.
Malcolm, Honorable Katesh, you remember when we first started discussion here, and you said no one can go there. So on one of our Sunday walks, we went up to a building site on something like 6th floor, and that is my only sighting of Lubowa Hospital. There was a crane.
Yours is better than the MPs.
Yeah,
my sighting was better than the MPs.
Your
He went to
location
the
was
neighborhood.
building 6
So I went on a- But now the building is finished, so you can't use that trick.
and next, and if
one of the tenants,
if Enrica ever gets to know that you are climbing there, you will see what will happen to you.
Get one of the tenants and visit him or her
Yes.
on the 6th floor.
Actually, that could work. So, or if you join us for the walk tomorrow, we could go visit one of the tenants there. So,
Can we
Katesh,
make that as a date?
yeah, and then we'll see if the crane, if there are now 2 more cranes, but at the time there was 1 crane, there was a slab, and I think 2 graders.
But OO is the spokesperson of government.
No, we are talking about the hospital.
He has access to all. Actually, he has the information.
Well, I think
Why are you laughing, Honorable Katonto?
No, my
So-
brothers, good morning.
Welcome to gang, Honorable Abdu Katonto, Ivan Rugamba. So go on, Katesh.
Well, first of all, I think, like any Ugandan, we are all disappointed about Lubowa Hospital. The groundbreaking, I recall, was on 1st of June, 2017. And the estimated, the date of completion was supposed to be June 2021. So that's 3 years. But now, it is 7 years. 7 years. And there is nothing to show. The government of Uganda issued a promissory note of $397 million. So the question is, where do we go from here? Because Honorable Somju was referring to, I think, the 6th of August 2019, when the team you have talked about that then had our current deputy speaker was denied access. So it was then, now, and I think the reasons why these things happen is because there is nothing to show. You have mentioned that in the budget, I think there was a request by the Minister of Health for money to supervise Lubowa Hospital.
2 billion.
2 billion. And we asked Minister of Health, we asked the Minister of Health painfully, actually the Committee of Health, because we, as a budget committee, we don't interface directly with the entities. What exactly are you going to supervise? Because there is nothing going on. I think it is high time the government comes out and tells Ugandans what is going on at Lubowa. This is not the only project that government has been involved in. We have seen how successful the Munyonyo, the investments into Munyonyo that were made where
inflated price.
yes, I don't want to go into the price because I didn't do any feasibility. I'm not a valuer, but Mr. Sudil, Dr. Sudil, through his farm, worked with government, and we saw this OO was on the committee of NAM and many others. They would frequently go and assess the progress. I think even a committee of parliament went. The project was delivered. You can in time. You can have your questions about the value. That's a different story. But there is something to show, and we had successful conferences. But for you to have a project 7 years, and even Parliament cannot go to see what is happening, and military is deployed, police is deployed, then there is something unclear about this project. And it is important that government comes out and explains, because even when we go to our voters, these are things that people see. We are not in the times of darkness. Information moves. People are on WhatsApp. When I'm in Shema, you will see someone asking you about this, because people have information. So, Minister of Health, government, Minister of Finance must be able to clearly explain what is the status of this project. Finally, Oscar, for me, when the groundbreaking, the information came out about this project, it was very exciting. But the biggest problem that we always have is these things which are done without clear procedures. Because there was no procurement process, I do not think there was any pre-feasibility study done. Nowadays, the National Planning Authority is involved in all these projects. But the idea of having specialized, medical care in the country to prevent the forex outflow is the idea that I'm talking about, the exciting bit. But why do you have to circumvent all the rules, all the procedures, to the extent that someone thinks that he's above the law and is answerable to perhaps one center, and then you end up having a problems where people do not have trust into the government processes. If there were clear procedures in terms of how the project's conceptualization up to the end, we would be knowing. But right now, I think everybody is disappointed, and it is incumbent upon government to come out and explain. Maybe OO could be having a better update, but from a parliamentary point of view,
pass the microphone to him. Does Parliament matter anyway? If you can just block them out of a specialized hospital site.
Parliament matters, and so I'm surprised by the lamentation of Parliament and members of Parliament. But there are two projects.
Surprised?
At a personal level, there are two projects that have deliberately not bothered to follow up. One is the banana project, or Dr. Muranga. That's how they call it. I think it's a personal project. And then Lubowa. Yes. Both of these, this parliament and even the previous parliament, have been budgeting, appropriating. Okay. The budget, you appropriate, and Treasury releases. We expect Parliament to put its feet down and ask for a very nitty-gritty of accountability through the mechanism they are available to it. That's why Parliament is given immunity in the course of doing its work. Therefore, Parliament, in my view, has abdicated its responsibility.
But you go and
holding.
You are stopped.
Yes, I did. I don't enjoy the same level of immunity as Parliament, because you interface with the president every other day, as committees, as the whole Parliament, including two annual meetings with the president, the State of the Nation address, and the budget. Would the president kill parliament or members of parliament if they said, because of your lack of transparency and accountability on these projects, we are not approving your budget on these items? Yes, because we have had.
I agree with him there.
We have had previously where Parliament put its feet down on
there. I agree with him.
Uganda, and they said, we are not passing the budget unless this is done, this is done, this is done. And the president went back with his executive, his cabinet, and.
But can you take information?
Yes.
For Munyonyo,
Yes.
where Sudiri wanted 100 billion, we refused to pass the budget. But Mr. Museveni paid and came back for supplementary approval.
That would be now a different matter for which you can actually hold him.
No, but actually on that point, I think you need to understand the budgeting process. What happens? Because you will realize that some of these projects where Parliament has not approved, for particular projects, we have even reallocated money to other projects. But if you use the route of supplementary, 3%, what do you expect Parliament to do?
Back to
well,
me. I'm looking at with different eyes.
Yes. So that's the first point I'm raising. I've actually raised two that I have deliberately not bothered to follow because I foresaw the abuse and impunity with which these projects, and I'm not sure to say it. The president ought to be told that he doesn't look good when he brings an investor directly like this, which he has been doing. Is a good thing for him to directly bring investors, but to bring investors who flout the country's laws, regulations, on the false belief perhaps that he will endlessly protect them. The president doesn't come out nicely, and he needs to be told, both by we, his supporters, his workers, but also by those that challenge us, the opposition, the civil society, and the rest of Uganda. And I hope, maybe through this discussion on this media, the president going forward will hence change his method of handling Pineti in particular. And you see, but part of that is that the president, in my view, you remember, he has been insisting that people don't want value addition in coffee, which is also for me. And me, I have said to him, I have written publicly, and I said, the people are not disagreeing that we should not add value to our coffee. The people who are disagreeing, they are disagreeing the method of introducing the so-called value adder, if there's such a word of adder.
The one who will add.
Yeah, speaking Lusoga in English, but it's okay.
Yes. And there has been a tendency that each time the president says people are unreasonably opposing him, those of us at the top, particularly in the cabinet, there is no counter argument against what the president says. And consequently, in my view, he has gotten away with this, that there are people who are opposed to value addition to coffee, which is not the right word. So, for me, I suggest Parliament has all the instruments it has to hold the president accountable. If they fail, let them resign. We get another set of members of Parliament, because only this. I think members of the NRM can actually, if they have what it takes, they can say, Mr. President, you can either go with Pineti, or we leave you go with Pineti, or you agree that Pineti should be examined according to the rules of Uganda. But we cannot continue putting money. Now, maybe the next time you should bring the Honorable Ruth Acheng or Chero and Princess Diana Atwine, so that they make accountability. Because if they say they wanted 2 billion, no. If you say They went there and they were denied access. But they were the same people who brought a proposal to be given 2 billion to go and supervise. What were they going to supervise? If it were me, the minister, if you have denied me access, I would go back to the president through cabinet and say, Mr. President, we're the ones supposed to supervise this project under the Ministry of Health. The person you brought has denied us access. Consequently, we have nothing to do with it. We put it in writing. If the president wants to sack me as a minister or as a permanent secretary, let him go ahead and do it. But I would have discharged my body. I think in Uganda we have people in positions who are simply warming chairs. They don't want to discharge their burden. Members of parliament should discharge their burden of holding the president accountable.
Okay. Abdul Katuntu. Semuju donated some of his time to
a certain extent in meetings. But you have the leverage, the instrument of denying him the budget.
The information which maybe you may not have is that when we were in Chankwanzi, there was a serious discussion. And I think
Chankwanzi is not parliament.
No, the caucus. The caucus and the members of NRM. Yeah, actually you were there. You know what happened. So the members of NRM actually spoke and spoke out to the president. And that's why I think we had breaks on the pressure about the coffee deal that was moving very quickly.
Katesh,
and I think the president
is a spokesman of government and NRM. He has said all these things deliberately. So, Abdul, on the hospital, did you also trek to the hospital, or you will join us on Sunday going to the 6th floor?
Yeah, I might be having better things to do on Sunday. But I think Mr. Ofonopondo has said it all. But let me give the history of this project. Around 2017, the idea of a specialized hospital came. And all of the justification was there, like Honorable Katesh is saying. All of it, because all of us know how much money we spend, both public and private money, in medical tourism to try to treat ailments which is affecting our people. We are talking about hundreds of millions of dollars annually. And all countries really have this sort of facility, including our neighbor here in Tanzania. Even small countries with smaller economies like Rwanda are also moving towards having that sort of facility. So when the idea came, we all got excited. But then red flags were raised. One, it started with the promissory notes, because there was a first opinion of the then Attorney General, which said, yes, Minister of Finance can issue those promissory notes without parliamentary approval of $370 million. We said, no, that is not the legal position. And we stood firm. That legal opinion was in writing. So when we stood firm, that opinion was rescinded and said, no, I think you need parliamentary approval because it is actually borrowing. So the matter now came to Parliament for approval. And we had all these debates. One of the issues we raised, there is no project in Uganda, a single project, that will absorb $370 million in the 24 months. It's not possible. And if Patricia was a little bit more organized, I know she is, but more organized, she should have played our Capital Gang show that day, around 2018 or 2017. We told them it's not possible. Even just preparing for that project to take off, you might need almost 6 months, mobilizing and so on, including preparing that side. It was not possible. So we just knew this was fake. Secondly, she started with 3 subcontractors. There were some Chinese, and actually started with Rocco, which Rocco was actually literally bankrupt because it was running many government projects and none of them was succeeding, including our parliament, which is still a problem up to now. So they started quarreling. They went in 2 courts, and Rocco was paid some money, and actually from the project,
$4 million.
$4
million. I don't know how many. For what? because there was a breach of contract. Now, after Rocco, the Chinese came in, who were also fake. Then from the Chinese, there is this other company that came in, which did the bypass or what, which was also fake. Everything about it has been fake about Lubowa. And let me ask one thing.
Would you say same?
Same. Oscar, we have seen Madam Pinette in this country. Tell me, which project is she running which is successful?
She even has roads.
One, let us get to those which for public what? To public knowledge. You have the coffee, we don't know how far it is. The other day I saw Haine tea. We don't know how far it is gone. Then we have tourism roads. You know, where you are a jack of all trades and a master of none. That is Madame Pinette. And the issue which arises, who is Pinette really in this country? Getting literally everybody annoyed, angered, bitter, and a lot of money being spent. And there is no single value for money we are seeing. Oscar, as long as Pinette remains what she is now, there's nothing we can do. However, OO is spot on.
It is good that we have two lawyers on the show. You know, these days UCC has started calling me, so...
but I know at least me, I know the borders. Okay. You can be sure. You won't get in trouble.
It might have been extended.
The legal borders is not the reason Oscar is in trouble.
Okay, even the common sense borders.
These are political borders.
So there are people in this country charged with the responsibility of oversight, and they are paid for it. And that's the point OO is making. They are really paid for it. If for us we sit and say, by the way, there is nothing we can do, I think there is a problem. We have a process, we have a forum where we can say, no, this is not possible anymore. And I don't think the president would reach a level when he sees everything really
Stand still.
You know, as it is now, and you will say, well, you can say so, but let us continue, you know, having this bottomless what? Pit. I think we need to wake up, especially Parliament. And we don't want to be like OO, because OO said on this one he absconded. I don't think Parliament should abscond.
I didn't use the word abscond. I said deliberately.
Okay, now I was redefining your deliberate, not two. That is absconding.
Yeah, in one word.
In one word.
Let's have Malcolm first, then you, Ivan.
Thank you, Oscar, and a very good morning to our listeners. I'm a little dismayed when my senior OO starts his remarks with the declaration of abdication and ends them by haranguing Parliament and others for abdicating. Because when you say you deliberately chose not to,
Abdication.
And then you're saying others are not doing the same, maybe you are quietly advising everyone involved that that's the best way to go about it. Because if the Minister of Health and the Permanent Secretary, after attempting to access, also thought the best thing to do is to abdicate like everybody else is doing or seems to be doing. Oscar, I've said several times on this show and in many other places that a product is always only as good as its process. If you don't follow the process, you will always have a shambolic product. And that is what we have in Lubowa, if you can call it that anyway. When the 2017 groundbreaking and Parliament approval was coming through, the agreement had been signed as early as 2015. When there is a decision to spend nearly $400 million on a project, and there is even a feeling that Parliament, a co-equal branch of government like Parliament, needn't be consulted, not even approval, but consultation, where the government is committing $400 million, then you already, that doesn't pass the smell test. that in of itself. Then we obviously have the processes that have led to where we are. Is Parliament culpable? I think I sympathize with them more than try to vilify them, because there's evidence that they have tried. We've heard from Katesia that and Semuju that once you kick it out in the budget framework paper, it comes through supplementary, and your hands are tied as Parliament. We have had Pineti in several projects. Let's call them that, which are they themselves stalling. But this is not really news, because there are several other projects that the government is involved in. Yes, there is the apparently successful one in Munyonyo, but we all know what happened at Shimoni when there were protests. Do not bring this down. Do not. There is nothing, and we spent years looking at bare ground, right in the middle of the city, as children and teachers who were supposed to teach those children were languishing until they found a home somewhere close to Honorable Semuju's constituency. This seems to smell of a lot of that, and somewhere down the road, the government will then come and apologize and accept responsibility, and then identify someone else to take over and be able to put something there that then we can point to and say, you see, now we have a development. All the losses in between. The idea of a specialized hospital is a good one. I do not know whether it is a priority for this country, or whether it was in 2015, when you have $70 or so million estimated as medical tourism on an annual basis, and 220. That is justification for a project like this. It is easy though to ask to wonder where else that $400 million could go to improve the quality of the healthcare in Uganda. That is a very valid question, because if you're committed to addressing something like that where you're providing specialist care, then you want to commit to the right process to provide the right product, and then attract attract medical tourism from elsewhere. But I also don't know whether
the Heart Institute actually attracts medical tourism,
and now we have kidney transplant happening in although we've been told it happens, and does it happen? The cost is also not very clear.
Pardon? If
Cancer Institute, we're investing properly.
Yeah.
And how have we done, I think, what Honorable Katish called the feasibility, to understand our healthcare system and see where Lubowa plugs into the healthcare system, into a grander plan. And I think I was talking about a grander plan. There doesn't seem to be a grander plan for Uganda. It is day after day.
I need to give you a little bit of information.
Yes.
Actually, there was a disagreement between the Minister of Health and the Pinet with the Pinet project at the beginning. For them, they had very different
eventually
ideas.
When they knew about it, because
yes,
when
they had different ideas.
When they were made aware.
Yes, and you need to give credit to both Dr. Ruth Acheng and even Princess, or calls her Princess Diana.
Princess Diana.
They had really different ideas. However, somehow the Pinet thing came in, but Minister of Health had a different idea.
Yes, and thank you for that information. I think that when we are assessing how the Lubowa Hospital fits within the grander plan, you look at what is there, what the plans are to address the different gaps that are there in the health sector, where the priorities lie. Because again, there's a lot of these hospitals. Certainly going to be quite expensive. When you look at the cost of a heart transplant, heart surgery or kidney transplant, those costs are still prohibitive. Yes, we have them here, but they are prohibitive for the ordinary Ugandan for the, compared to some neighboring countries as close as Rwanda, where the cost is fairly lower. And why does that happen? Because you have a much grander plan around addressing the healthcare system, and not necessarily just plugging one hole that then becomes an abyss and just swallows lots of money.
Malcolm saying we shouldn't have because it's expensive.
No.
Say don't have it expensive.
No. But we must have a starting point. It's like saying we start a primary school and a mango tree.
No.
Then we build one classroom.
My understanding of
Some
what
other children
Malcolm
will
is saying
continue
is
being
that
at the
please
mango tree.
don't have it expensive. It will not be affordable.
No.
Actually, I said more. He said have a plan. What's your plan?
Obviously.
What's your grand plan? That's what he's saying.
Unfortunately, Abudu didn't say the plan Acheng and Diana had, for which they disagreed. And that's why, Oscar, I said at the beginning that when we are discussing these technical policy issues, it would have been better to bring Diana or Acheng so that our...
No, you need to look at their correspondences at the beginning. Their proposal was just equip Morago and regional referral hospitals. If you must, let them be the ones through their contractors, be the one to construct that facility. Those were the proposals, that it will be cheaper, but it also fit in what Malcolm has said in their grand plan.
And they had the plan for it as a ministry. You need to talk to the director of medical services, and they had the plan for it. However, somehow something came through the ventilator and it landed in
There's a paper written by Jude Byamukama. A paper written by Jude Byamukama, and I'll share it with you as well. It says when they were eventually made aware of the project, they were also against it.
You remember, Naduri? Are you aware?
Pardon?
Are you aware, Naduri?
Ivan, you're on microphone.
Thank you. I think on this issue...
This is a good point for Ofanopondo to thank Ivan for warming that seat regularly. He has statistics, Biaruhanga style, and he has the voice of Ofanopondo.
Is he punchy?
He's still polite.
Ivan, I want you to be punchy.
Yeah, okay.
I want him to be
He's not yet punchy.
Moses is good with statistics, but soft, and people like Semudu take advantage of him.
That's correct.
Ivan is the next one with statistics.
Moses is good. Moses.
But and on some days when he should be punchy, he stammers. He does what? Like today, I said now is back. How you took us to bananas and
But Oscar, I think on this subject we should have had the gang sit on one side. Because
I think there's unanimous, apart from abdication here and there.
There is consensus.
Abdication and abscondment here and there.
There's consensus. But for me, I have a problem with this Peneti thing from the very beginning, the identity of the whole thing. Because you see, Peneti has a company. When they say Peneti, she has a company called Finas, which she uses to bid for these projects.
No, there is no bidding.
Anyway.
No.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I have been soliciting. I have been advised that she does not bid. So
you could say which uses for appointments.
for soliciting. This company, I do not know who did. If anybody ever did any due diligence, this company has no history in any construction aspect, undertaken, executed, and completed. But this company comes to Uganda, it is given hospitals, it is given roads, it is given marketing in coffee and tea. So it's a multi-purpose vehicle with no history of any multi-purpose execution or any multi-purpose achievement. Secondly, the arrangement of the agreement. So if this company does not have history of execution in construction or anything, then why is it undertaking this? Why didn't the government of Uganda?
Tea.
Yes. Why didn't the government of Uganda borrow this money directly and then pay interest because it is behaving, this company is behaving like the IMF or World Bank or something, because the only thing it is providing is that it can borrow money.
We actually the ones paying the debt.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying, because government is the one paying promissory notes and paying back that money. Yet you would say, okay, the reason we are going with the company is because it has a history of execution, construction. It has excellent execution, construction and execution record. It doesn't have either. So what does it offer? Because if it is borrowing, I think that the government has a better identity as a brand or as a to be contracted or to borrow money. And then
that's
construct.
Why government is the one issuing the promissory notes, because they are borrowing.
Exactly.
Herself, we can't borrow.
Exactly. So what are we paying? Why are we contracting her? What does she bring on table? That answer that question.
The speciality.
Yes, there is no speciality she's bringing on table. So why are we contracting? Why doesn't the government borrow this money and contract Rocco and any other construction
she's a
company
medical consultant
to offer this? That is the first point.
Is she a medical consultant?
And for the tea or coffee?
That is the first point. So
but Abdu, for the tea, coffee and rods?
Nothing.
She's a good drink of coffee.
So the first point is that Peneti brings no speciality. In fact, she brings nothing to this exercise, because government could still borrow this money and contract the companies to build this hospital, since her company has no record in construction. That is the first point. The second point is the exaggerated figures she quotes in all her projects. By the way, what is not said here is that the initial contract for this project included a 3-star hotel, included a hospital and a 3-star hotel.
Wow.
That is what she was constructed at a cost of 200.
This is documented?
Yes. This is and the parliamentarians can verify that, I'm sure, even upon it was a hospital and a 3-star hotel at a cost of $250 million. But this is the interesting bit. She proceeded after getting that contract from government. She proceeded and contracted, first of all, Rocco at $70 million. They fell out. She went and contracted Power China International at $57 million. The difference, Oscar, between her contracted the amount she quoted, the 250 million, for which she was constructed with by government, and the company, the construction companies, is a whopping $193 million in profit. So she gets government to contract her at $250 million and proceeds to contract the company at $57 million. Rocco
70
had been contracted at 70. Power China at $57 million. The difference between the Power China amount and the one that she got government to give her is a whopping $193 million. That money alone in profit can construct another whole facility, and that is just on Lubowa and the hotel.
For once, Semuji is going to be grateful for your statistics.
She went ahead and was given 7 roads by government. Some of these by the I think by the president directly.
By his letters.
The president is the head of government.
No.
So yes, the president is the head of government. So she got government. Is the head of government. So the president acts.
I only have your microphone.
Yes, the president acts in the name of government. So the government contracted, gave her 7 roads to construct, regardless of the fact that she has no history in road construction. But this is the other interesting bit. Some of these roads, UNRWA had already done feasibility studies, assessment and value assessment. So the difference between her quoted cost of constructing these roads and what UNRWA had done was a whopping 117 billion.
The difference
in what UNRWA had identified and quoted and what she quoted. So not only does she have no record of no speciality, not only does she bring no speciality to any of the deals she has gotten, she also quotes exaggerated figures and contracts government to pay her this, and in fact including interest, because the interest we are paying on Lubowa is $129 million interest alone. That is what brings. Yes.
Resisted.
Yes.
129 million
in interest. That is what increases the figure from the 250 million to the 379 million. So it's 120. The government is incurring 129 million in interest. Never mind that there is no work that is being done, and never mind the fact that the companies she contracted for
some work done, maybe it's lower pace or substandard, but there's some work.
Okay, but if we cannot see that work, if the Prime Minister, the Minister of Health, the leader of opposition, Parliament, and the leader of government business cannot be allowed to go and see the work, where should we derive the confidence that there is work being done? You see, so
as we stop for a break, final sentence.
This is an unmitigated scandal that every Ugandan should be raging
just
about.
Before the break, government spokesman.
Yes. I think all, yeah, no.
Now he's government spokesman.
All is not lost. Let us just remember that we have had many projects of this nature before where we have had controversies. But with putting sufficient pressure at the right places, the executive and particularly the president has come back and agreed with the complainants. You remember the sugar thing in Kachira, the land, rather in Rugazi? He came back. Swam Road, even this Entebbe Expressway. We now have issues with the ginger, Kampala ginger. So I still insist that our parliament should put the right pressure.
I have three minutes to the break,
yes,
but give us reassurance on this hospital.
My brother Moses Biaruhanga has just sent me here a message and is saying that they had a meeting this week with the president.
Is Biaruhanga also in suspension?
No.
I think it caused the suspension.
No. Biaruhanga has sent me a message and they had a meeting this week and says, in a meeting this week on progress of Lubowa Hospital, the government was briefed and assured that infrastructure works will be completed by the end of this year.
What?
Go to the microphone.
Infrastructure work will be completed by the end of this year, and equipping will thereafter start. Opening will be by November 2025. This is what Moses has sent to me. And this is a radio of record. We shall be holding Moses and the government. And I have no... I have no doubt in my mind.
Then how can we hold someone's mouth here?
Hold on. First finish. Let him first say he has no doubt in his mind
that Moses is quoting the truth that there was a meeting, and this is the president between Pineti, the group there, and the president.
I thought you were going to say you have no doubt in your mind that it will be completed next year.
That Moses is quoting a fact that a meeting took place. And the government in this particular matter led by the president was briefed that this infrastructure work will be done by November this year and that the hospital will be commissioned by November 2025. This is what Moses Biaruhanga has said.
Oscar.
Let me stop for a breakfast.
Yeah, no.
Let me stop for a breakfast.
On 91.3 Capital FM. The Capital Gang on 91.3 Capital FM.
Welcome back from the break. Great discussions in the break. Star Cafe has powered the gang. Today we even have Mandazi. So welcome back, Oponopono.
All the chapter from Bugwere is not here.
No, we have Mandazi today. So as I thought we were concluding on the topic, and Moses Biaruhanga, call it wide open. Back again. Abdu, you are protesting.
Yes.
You do not believe in your mind that believes in his mind that the meeting took place and the hospital will open next year.
I believe in my mind, to use your words, that whatever my brother Moses Biaruhanga is saying is some street gospel. And let me tell you why I call it street gospel. You see, this is a contract written with the terms and the conditions. Each party has obligations under that contract. That contract has went through a process of approvals from the auditor general to the attorney general. Money has already been extended. So is this now a renegotiated position? Is this now a new contract? Because you see, if you've voted on a written agreement, by the way, on 3 times, I think 3 occasions, you've even voted with subcontractors on 4 occasions. How come now we must have faith in what my brother Moses is talking about? So really, to me, we are in a crisis. This is a desperate attempt to sanitize something which is unsanitizable. We need just to move away from Pineti, cut our losses, because first of all, how much money have we already spent? The guys we issued the promissory notes have called on to them, and we've already paid money.
Oscar, that may as well be true, but as I said, this is not the only project. We have just had recently the question of extension of the airport, the runway, the building. We had a contractor there. Through government system, UPDF Engineering Brigade was brought in, and we had been told that the airport is specialized. UPDF has delivered that airport building. 2. No. You may say they are not yet completed, but they have delivered. 2. The second project.
So you mean now UPDF is going to take over Lubowa? That's what you are saying.
I can read into that.
But it was costed, and that money had already been paid.
I agree with it was costed.
Yes.
We have another project.
And we've already paid out that money.
Which UPDF has delivered. Nambore Stadium. We also had a contractor there. We were told, we were told, yes, there may be scandals and so on. We were told an international stadium is also specialized. UPDF has delivered Mandela National Stadium. So I would have no doubt that either UPDF or any other contract, because if Pineti has caused government and the president headache, yes, the president can go back to them and say, you guys, you Pineti and your group, you are causing me headache. I want you to make good. And I think Pineti can make concessions and say these aspects of the work, you can give it to another person. I think it is better to give it time. Yes, we have been disappointed, I know, but I think it can be redeemed and is going to be redeemed. What we need to do, put sufficient pressure.
You take public money, then you get another public institution, UPDF, to do your job.
Cut our losses.
Semuju?
That's part of cutting your losses.
Honorable Semuju?
What Ofono Pondo and Vyarohanga are saying now is that don't mind, something will be there. What was envisaged was a super facility, specialized. Number is not. You go to Rwanda and see the rugby arena, you will cry. You will cry if you look at just the rugby arena in Rwanda and compare to Nambole.
Oscar, point of information. That arena in Rwanda is almost 5 times the value in value compared to Nambole. So you can only construct the quality that you have paid for. You cannot pay 100 and how many $1 million for Nambole and expect
Nambole is not being constructed.
Renovation.
We are going to spend 200 billion shilling in renovating.
Yes.
You're not counting the cost.
No.
For me, Oscar.
Let's contrast.
I wanted to finish, but you are the one who opened the can of worms.
I think I agree with Ofono that you can count how many months did Biaruhanga say?
November next year.
Yeah, they will pack there some containers, put some makeshift structures, and then bring Panado and aspirin and say the super specialized hospital now is working. And then the president will go to launch, like he has always done. Even the Katosi with its scandal, he launched it. But I have said with its scandal, so don't you know that money was eaten? Yeah, but you remember, you remember the contractor who was supposed to be an American took the first 24 billion and then was subcontracting at 150.
Okay. Let me have Ivan,
not working at full capacity.
Have final word on this one, and then we go to the next topic.
Not at full capacity.
Look. For me, I do not to agree with OO. I do not want to agree that Parliament is entirely powerless on this. The other day, when the idea of floating the coffee deal again towards Pineti, in the midst of this scandal, in the midst of this Lubowa scandal, Parliament put its foot down. I remember the president summoned the NRM parliamentary caucus at Kololo, and he was almost lamenting, telling people. That's when he said, "People are saying Penetti is nobody. It is me. It is." In fact, he said something to that. Then he said, "I'm the one who brought Penetti. She was not interested in this. I'm the one who brought her." But that was an acknowledgement that Parliament had put its foot down and said no. In light of the current events and the controversy surrounding her, we cannot give another contract to Penetti. She has no record or specialty in coffee marketing and value addition and anything like this. So I think that the Parliament is not pushing hard enough against this.
Protest here was at the beginning here. You are midway. So if you stop it, they will say we are supposed to be paying a compensation.
Yes. But also, I think
but Moses tells you as well that you are wrong. Ivan is not correct. The project involves construction and equipping the hospital. So please, Ivan, stop saying that the rest was profit to Penetti. The other balance of
but
money.
You see, the construction involves the hospital and the beds and the hotel. So I don't know when you mean equipment, because it is in the contract. There is the number of beds. I have missed 200 something beds. So you construct the hotel and fit it with beds.
Show in the near future, and Moses comes to the show really.
Moses is on suspension.
What?
No, he's not. With the minister.
No, we need Moses.
Moses is looking forward when enough comes.
Philip in Kampala is saying that we hope we'll conclude with a call for the minister to resign, Minister of Health. Okay, now let's go to another official position, Honorable Semuju. So what's happening?
He wanted to extend Lubowa so that we don't discuss the official position.
Official position?
Yes. So
why are you smiling?
I think
he has enjoyed.
Extend sides and we go this side and Semuju and Katun to come this side.
So Parliament exhibition has told us a lot of things, and a lot of things have caused chaos in NUP. So, Honorable Semuju, what have we learned this week? All these happenings in Parliament.
Give him 4 microphones on this one.
I'm in Parliament.
You're a big person in Parliament in the opposition.
Oscar,
yes.
I saw on all the platforms, WhatsApp platforms where I am. He was sending those documents and forgetting that actually he has sent them. Then he resends them.
He has enjoyed himself.
I don't know why
till this morning.
I don't know why has always had a problem with the Parliament. One set of NRM leaders in Parliament, he has problems with them. Another set, he has problems with them. I don't know. But let me go to the issues, Oscar.
Especially to the speaker.
Me, I think this should be a learning lesson for the administration of Parliament. I have always told colleagues in Parliament that the way we roll people in the mud when they have committed crimes or suspected, we should also expect the public to put us under the spotlight. And I think the administration of Parliament will need to sit down and learn from this and then seek to improve. The trouble with Parliament all over, whether it is UK, whether it is Kenya, remember the story of pigs in Nairobi. The public will be the one to choose Parliament, but they don't like the Parliament. I don't know, almost everywhere. I said
it is because of money.
I said on another show, under the last administration, Parliament proposed that instead of spending so much money on stationery, let's buy iPads. They didn't look at the cost that was going to be saved.
Even this one.
They just looked at MPs adding themselves yet something else. So I think the public will prefer that Parliament is not paid at all. I think the public will be happy.
Can I give you some information?
Yes.
I think the public had issue with the fact that the iPads were bought and the printing continued in the house.
No, it
And
didn't. It didn't. We no longer receive reports.
Yes.
But
information is wrong.
We don't.
Okay.
So give him back information.
We no longer receive reports.
They're
Everybody
uploaded.
goes on his iPad. If you don't know how to use it, then you will not follow. So that has happened. But that doesn't take away. That doesn't take away Oscar the legitimate issues that are raised. I think the point that the public makes. Let me speak about my brother, the Honorable Mpuga. I and Mpuga met in senior 2, so we've been together since that time. The trouble is that even when you are doing something right and you do it badly, that's the point Malcolm made earlier. You're going to look like you're doing something wrong. I don't see legitimately any problem with Parliament giving the leader of opposition when he's retiring a retirement package. Because the other day they were giving Sekandi, who had them move 3 vehicles because of the officers, the speakers, and you may have issues, but it is in the law, so you can't blame Sekandi because the law was made. But this time, I think what you are doing was right. The leader of opposition can be given a retirement package, but do it properly. If you need to amend the Administration of Parliament Act, amend it. There has always been a trouble, and I think in the CA it was an issue, that you are the ones who are registrating, but you want to be the beneficiary of this constitution as soon as it is made. So there was a proposal, I don't remember either by Kanyehamba or someone else, that everybody participating in making the constitution should not contest the next immediate election. When you are the sitting commission and you propose packages and you pass them, you will have a problem. In fact, for me, in my view, you need the sitting parliament to be the one proposing packages for the next parliament, and the next parliament must not revise them, because the conflict of interest is always going to be there. We are all human. Oscar, let me tell you, when you are starting observer, we are closing in 1 week because of the human indiscipline, until when you went for a meeting and said, no, there must be procedures. So if you asked me to go and determine my allowances, I am human.
You will put 5,000.
Yes, because I want more. So I think the process in Parliament will need to change. You get the sitting Parliament to propose the payment and allowances for the next Parliament. But also let them be in the law, because now my brother Mpuga is being made to look like a thug. Yet I believe he is not. But he's being made to look like
Honorable
a thug.
Semuju,
Yes, I believe he is not.
Honorable Semuju,
Yes.
Ofono Pondo has been waiting for you to speak about the speaker's allowances as well. He has been gearing up for that, and he was daring that you shall not speak about them, because it is not just Right Honorable Mpuga.
But let me
It's
also
the two of them
let me also use
limelight.
this. Let me also use this to explain something that has been variously said. See, for any MP, when you are dealing with the speaker, there will be limits. Except if you are mad, there will be limits of Ono Pondo. Every day I want to speak, I must ask for permission from the speaker. It is extendable. If the speaker says don't speak, you will not. But also, the way the speaker is protected by our rules, even to speak, you must begin by thanking. If you don't know Ono Pondo. By rule. So you stand up, I want to thank you, Madam Speaker. Even for nothing has been done at that stage, but you are thankful.
The opportunity to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the word all over all.
So I think many NRM people, including Ivan here, they have their own internal problems with the administration of Parliament, and part of the problem they have is that some of us are using Parliament as a platform. They will therefore want a conflict between you and the administration of Parliament such that you don't use it at all. So even when they have a legitimate issue, they are inviting you and recruiting you in a fight where you can go and actually plan. You've seen what has happened to my other colleagues. So yes, I am not stupid of Ono Pondo that you are going to invite me to begin fighting with the speaker, and then you tweet me the way Zake has been tweeted. I am not stupid. That word don't recruit me. But also two things, Oscar, for you to know.
Semuju, in fact, when we were sending off Senyonyi here,
yes,
we advised him to stop the
and
earlier, and we told him now you are LP.
So the moment you want to be part of parliament, you want to be a leader of opposition, you want to chair a committee, you must recognize that parliament has administrators. If you want to go, we have had that problem with FDC activism versus parliamentary work. The FDC headquarters will want you to go and jump over table all the time. If you choose to do that, you are suspended. I have been suspended from this parliament 3 times. So if I wanted to continue being suspended, please, I will do what Ofonopono is advising me to do. But if I want to use parliament as a platform to say the things that I say, I must be tactical. I am not an idiot. But also I want you, Oscar, to note 2 things.
Yes.
All the things that have happened in parliament have happened against a background. The Honorable Mpuga has had his own issues with his party. He's removed as leader of opposition. He has had a quarrel with him. So the people who are making a go at him are not doing so just necessarily because of what has happened in parliament. They have had scores to settle. The same applies to the Ofonoponos and the speakers of parliament. They have their own problems within NRM. So when something happens like it did, Ofonopono is going to celebrate and invite everybody to participate when he's reaching parliament and the speaker. Please, I am still a member of parliament for 2.5 years. I must use parliament as a platform. When you are fighting with the speaker for your own NRM quarrels, please don't invite me. I will fight my quarrels.
Katesh, all the 3 MPs.
Well,
Ivan, have you noticed the 3 MPs we have in the studio? They are all annoyed. You should see the facial expression on Abdul's face talking about parliament. They are very annoyed.
I want to, Oscar, I want to thank Semuju because you see, this whole thing about parliament, and Ivan, you need.
So you are
to
not going. You're also not going to talk about the speaker's allowances, where they are
we
right.
should ask
where they are
ourselves. This campaign that started, that has intensified, who is the sponsor, who is behind it, what is the objective? And I think we should not take things for granted.
But Katesh, you are being unfair. When you are in URA, you yourself promoted a whistleblower notion. So it did not matter who has presented, who has
Because
an agenda, who has whatever.
Oscar,
you actually encouraged that same attitude.
I have been in parliament. When you see
He
the
paid whistleblowers, yes.
is itching to talk because is itching to talk because there is excitement.
Hey.
And Oscar need to be protected from Ivan here. Because
I will remind Katesh, let me remind listeners that Ivan and OO are in the NRM party.
Yes, you see, I think
they have forgotten.
They are people who, Oscar, they are people who have not accepted the current administration of parliament. And they will do everything to tarnish, to bring down the administration of parliament. And like Semja has said, we are not going to be dragged into that. Those same people, by extension or by proxy, have gone after Mpuga. Mpuga has been one of the most articulate, very successful LOP. At least I have watched him at the cross range. But because of that success, because of his performance, I think the powers that be in the party felt very threatened. And they expected Mpuga to be fighting with the speaker on a daily basis. I mean, someone who went to school who is reasonable, you have to choose between jumping on tables and using your head. And I wish.
Pardon?
I have said you can jump on table.
Yes.
But not every day.
Not every day. And I wish.
Yes.
And I wish. I wish OO was in parliament, because you see, parliament has got rules. You cannot expect, because the accusations they have been laboring about to Mpuga was, you are not aggressive, you need to jump on tables. The fine gentleman in him will not do that, and that is the approach. He had an agenda, he performed well, but people did not like him. They started fighting him. Now, I think even the current administration, in the leader of opposition, is threatened. Someone might leave a position, but you feel you feel the crowd is still hovering around you. If this crowd is not removed, you will not be noticed. I think that is what we are experiencing. Now you look at all this information that has come out. Personally, I rarely pay attention to negative things in social media. Some of it is not verified. But you see the excitement of people who are jumping on it and expounding on it. You can see that there is clear motivation behind this campaign. And I think we have to be very careful. We have Parliament. It is a punching bag in this country. One time I asked, is Parliament the largest cost center in this country?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
You look at the budget. Look at the budget. But anything small, you will hear. Parliament is very big. Even the people in NRM who have been part of us, like they are the ones to claim Parliament is big. But we all submit ourselves.
Has liked your comments on the hospital.
We all submit ourselves for election.
But not these ones.
You know. So, for me, there are issues there are people who are losers. They are using every opportunity to tarnish Parliament. My only problem is that our administration, we have a clerk, they need to come out and actually formally issue a statement, because some of the information is false, it's being manipulated, but it's going out there, and all these people who want it, they studied PhD, put him down, they want to use this information to bring down and undermine Parliament.
Okay.
And you must also understand the period we are in now. You know, elections, the talk is starting, and so people need to calm down.
Okay. Honorable Katuntu, you were away on one show where I asked a very tough question. Someone on Twitter said that was the toughest question on gang for a while. Now this one, Semujo has joined in a tough question. And the only answer he has said, you can only jump on the table once. So, but no one is referring. Pardon?
I mean, periodically, you can't be jumping on the table every day. Then you will never speak in Parliament.
So, Parliament, Uganda Parliament exhibition, Katesh has gone round and round and round and round until he said that the clerk should come out and speak. Is just itching to begin, and for once you'll be assisted with statistics man Ivan.
Well, O suffers from what I call speaker mania. His hatred for Rebecca Kadaga, and now he has had another one. So I wouldn't be surprised. But having said so, Parliament is a public institution, and whatever we do will have a spotlight on us. That we should always be aware. And I have no problem at all with anybody flashing that spotlight on what we do, because it's always good manners and the responsibility to have accountability for all our actions as an institution or as individual members. There is no problem with it. My only other problem is, one, when in the process of having spotlight on us, then we indulge in blackmail, in hatred, and sometimes, in unnecessary and including now forgeries. That's where the big problem is. So whatever has come out, that is okay with me, absolutely. So we need now to examine it. Did it happen? If it happened, is it the right thing that happened? And that's what civilized societies do. From my own point of view, I have a little bit of advantage. One, when this current administration took over the leadership of Parliament, like any other change, they had changes that to make within the institution that affected, for example, staff. And it started actually with the short time even Jacob was still alive and was there. There was a little bit of transfers and so on, and it affected staff who never recovered from it. So they have been having all this grudge and so on, and they found time to hit back, and that one they are doing. So that we should expect. But when that happens, why doesn't the public examine it and say, is this true or not? I'll give you an example. Many members of staff, I think, were transferred from offices which they were comfortable and put in other offices where they are not comfortable. So all those are just trying to hit back. And the public should understand that. To go back to this thing of Honorable Mpuga, let me tell you one thing. The office of the leader of opposition is a government office. And it is constitutional. Can we get that clear? It is a government office and it is constitutional. The office of leader of opposition has an equivalent in parliament. And the equivalent is the leader of government business. It is government and it is also constitution. Does the office of leader of government business have a retirement package? The holder, whether he has been in that office for 2 months, 1 month. If you retire as a prime minister, what do you take after? We provided a car. That's why even the family of the late Sibambi has a car. Chintumusoko, all of them, we have provided a house and so on. And that is the equivalent of the leader of opposition in parliament and in government.
Did Honorable Nandala get these things?
Which one? No, he didn't, and that's where the problem is.
Oh.
That's where the problem is, that office should have been provided with a retirement benefit, like indeed we've provided one with the government side. You get it? The only thing, do you provide it in perpetuity like that one of Prime Minister? Because the one of Prime Minister, it is in perpetuity until he dies. Here, I think, because I talked to many of to the leadership, so how did this arise? And it was like, can we have a one-off for that office?
Why is my brother stammering?
Oh.
My brother, I only have one brother on this show.
Me? I never stammer. No, I just want you to counter my argument with logic and law. And don't involve me in gossip, because I have no time to gossip. And that you know. So the issue is really not about providing that award service, because it was about, like, we have gratuity. By the way, we do have gratuity as members of parliament. So this was a one-off, but for the office of leader of what? Of opposition. Maybe that calls that to amend the constitution, that the leader of opposition should actually be the one who is the leader of opposition in the country. Because if it was Bobby Wine, the Honorable Chagulanyi in that office, what would be the debate be? If it was Dr. Kiza Besigye in that office, what would the debate be? Or it is because there is now a contradiction, especially within the NUP, and it has its own history. Then too, about the current speaker. Let me tell you, the current speaker is facing two challenges. One, there are people from the opposition who think she's, especially outside parliament, who think she has done very well to fizzle parliament, or the opposition in the parliament, so that it doesn't go to what Semuju is saying of jumping on the table every day, and so on. There's a little bit of harmony within that house, where when people come together these days, it is not about fighting all the time. And you have to go to give credit to Anita Mongo. She has succeeded to do that. And don't think it will please the opposition, especially outside parliament. However, there is also another, what we call the intra-contradiction. People like who think that Anita is a stranger in NRM. To them, it is their thing. So they also having a problem. And all of them are having all their data and so on throwing over. So they divert the public from a legitimate spotlight which should be on parliament, and now they are involving us in their gospel, in their hatred. And that is not correct. We are
going to stop for a break.
Oscar, before you stop,
because
someone
is ready.
I met a senior person in NRM who said, you know, these two people are newcomers, the speaker and the deputy speaker. They just came in recently, and they are now enjoying, power, to the extent that some of them even felt that they should not even
But
be
how
invited.
come no one is saying that against you?
Who?
You.
Me, I've been around. Which power do I have?
What power does he have? He's an ordinary MP. Katesh is an ordinary MP.
Capital Gang on 91.3 Capital FM. Capital Gang on 91.3 Capital FM.
Welcome back from the break. There was a bit of delay because the arguments are still moving. So let's start with you, Ofonopondo, and then we'll have Ivan and then Malcolm.
The opposition, the MPs are jumping on tables.
So Abdu has told us, there's a listener complaining about background. Abdu has told us that these things require scrutiny and that people are not giving scrutiny to the issues. So there are some issues on travel. That's a big chunk of money. That came in the wrong question. And then there's another one of leader of opposition. Was it 500 million? So can you give us that scrutiny that Abdu wants?
It's very interesting that when we flash a torch on Parliament, they say we are being hired.
Go to the microphone.
By hatred. When we started this show, I made an analysis on the issue of Pineti vis-a-vis, quote and unquote, the protection, the promotion she gets from the president. I don't know what the Honorable Budan Semujo will say. I am also being motivated to hate the president. But let that rest.
Only your microphone is on.
I just want to highlight three things in Parliament. First of all, I want to disabuse Honorable Abudu, who says, I have speaker mania. My disagreement with Honorable Kadaga, Right Honorable Kadaga, was on specific issues where she had made an undertaking in SEC that after 10 years as a speaker, she would cede way.
That was the last one.
Yes, and then
previously you had issues.
Then she went on her word, and we disagreed there, and everybody knows the outcome. We did a democratic fight. We did a democratic struggle, and we ousted her. Now,
Let us look at
on the record, in 2021, I was on the side of Jacob Bolanya and Triple A, who was running for Speaker and Deputy Speaker, respectively. When Olanya passed on, we agreed as the NRM. You remember the Obote had come up, and we agreed in the SEC. We said no, we must go by the president. Triple A knows. Contrary to what Abudu says, I am actually her supporter as Speaker of Parliament. However, that does not mean that I agree with the entire management style, particularly when things come to the fore. You have just cited here the parliamentary, you call it parliament exhibition. I have not bothered myself to know who are behind it, but from social media, I gathered that Dr. Spire Sentongo, the satirist, and Agatha Atwhere, who has been a parliamentary reporter, and she follows. What have they put there on the exhibition? Particularly about the speaker, I have not seen what they have said about other people. They have made a claim, for example, I just want to highlight two, that on 29th November 2023, the speaker received 494 million, supposedly for a trip to Nairobi for her biannual holiday of 30 days. But simultaneously, on the same 29th November 2023, the speaker received 104 million for 7 days in Kigali for the parliamentary games. Now, I have not made the verification myself. Honorable would say,
you have not yet done the scrutiny yourself.
Honorable would say there could be fraud, people manipulating
information.
But these are things
we
that
should see how stern his face looks.
These are things that on the surface appear genuine records from the parliamentary accounts offices.
Because they have been typed.
No. I am saying on the surface. Now, it is incumbent.
And Parliament has not yet come out.
It is incumbent upon, in my view, the office of the Speaker to say, we have seen this on social media or even mainstream media. It is not true. The Speaker has not traveled. First of all, she has not traveled out of the country to go to Nairobi for a 30-day holiday. And therefore, the purported expenditure or receiving the money is false and fraudulent. That's what I would expect. Now, if Parliament and her office is quiet, what do you expect another member of the public who has read this to take? Two, you remember when the Semujus had issues with the Nandarama Fabis. At that time, also, something similar was said about Honorable Semuju. There were things put on social media and said Semuju signed for money for Nairobi, and simultaneously he was in South Sudan.
It was false.
In our case, Semuju, because
you are the one who was pumping it.
Oh, you remember?
In our case, on our platform,
You are the one who was doing it.
on the dance,
No. And the
now
surface is being
my
typed.
brother Abdu is heckling.
I have switched off his microphone.
I know how favored you are, or you have been, with the previous Speaker of Parliament and the current one. When we were doing the Speakers' conference, you were literally the bag holder. You are the Cooper.
I was the chairperson of that
I can understand your conflict of interest in ensuring that you defend whatever the Speaker does, whatever it may be. So I'm saying
these days there's a saying in Luganda, tokuba nnyo.
Tokubye nnyo. So yes, I am saying when these kind of things come up, it is incumbent upon the administration of Parliament to say, "Look, we have seen this; it is fraudulent," and therefore it assuages.
Semuju came here and said it is not true.
Yes, and that's what we. Now the Speaker doesn't come here.
No,
but she has officers of Parliament who should be able. There's Obore, there's the Kilaki.
We've had Sabiti here. We have had Obore here.
Yes, who should be able to come and tell the public this is not accurate, and they give. Now let's go back to the one of Honorable Mpuga.
You have really had a good morning.
Yes, is it usual that, first of all, in the written terms and conditions of members of Parliament, they have their salary, they have their gratuity, they have their pension.
Just pause 1 minute. David in Kampala says, "Good morning, gang. Does everyone get, every LOP outgoing gets 500 million? Is it true the Speaker got 2.5 something? The holders of those offices are not appointed or chosen on merit." He goes on, "No other section of public service is squandering public resources. Can this be arrested? Only the other day Parliamentary Commission dished out fuel guzzling monster SUVs."
Now, the one of Mpuga. It is okay if you bring a law or a regulation of Parliament and say, we have seen laws going away and becoming paupers after serving. Even if they are rich, can we write in the law their benefits post their office, holding the office? That would be understandable. Now, if you make that argument for Lob to get, from Puga, let me now say, for this immediate Lob to get 500, what argument are you making for the commissioners who, from the media, we understand, got 400 million? If your argument is the Prime Minister is given benefits in perpetuity, yes, what justification does the Parliamentary Commission has for giving the current sitting commissioners the alleged 400? What are you equivalenting? If there's such a word again, what are you equivalenting the commissioners? Yes. What are you equivalenting now for them to get the 400 million? So there is clearly something that is mind-boggling, that the administration of Parliament, and not just the administration of Parliament, the entire government infrastructure should, because the Minister of Finance, the Prime Minister, are members of the Parliamentary Commission. How come that they paid probably a blind eye that this payment is made, or is it because they are beneficiaries? Now, we need now to scratch. Because the Prime Minister is also a commission, I think.
Yes.
The Minister of Finance is a commission. Now, is it possible that they also partook the 400 million as the other commissioners took?
Yep.
Now,
is it 400 or 500?
500.
Okay.
Now, we have had complaints just last week. We had a complaint from Jonathan Odur, I think is FDC MP for Erute, UPC, Erute North, who stood on the floor of Parliament and raised with the Speaker, said, Madam Speaker, there is opaqueness in how the Parliamentary Commission... No, where?
Raised under a rule
Yes.
that provides for asking questions
Yes.
From a category, demanding funds from a category of including commissioners.
Yes.
And he said, I have some questions for commissioners. Can I ask them? That was what he said.
Now,
not that he was
I need you to conclude so we get
but
more
there has been
discussion.
A comment, including from Jonathan Odur, that some aspects of the commission workings are not entirely transparent even to the members of Parliament. And when they were handling the budget, you remember, there was a complaint that the details of the Parliamentary Commission's budget wasn't fully disclosed to the members of Parliament, as if the details of the budget of the Parliamentary Commission is handled more like what Semuju has been complaining about, the classified expenditure. Now, if things are done that way, we, the gallery, the public gallery, why do you think we shouldn't? And if we follow, if we who come on the gang here cannot put Parliament on the spotlight, who do we expect to put Parliament on the spotlight?
Okay.
I don't expect ministers to put Parliament on the spotlight because they fear that if I put the Parliament on the spotlight, I have my policy paper to be passed. I have my budget to be considered. So it must take good faith. But this but this idea that each time you raise something, you have been asked, or you have been asked by another person, or you are working for the other day, and it has gone beyond Parliament. The other day, 3 weeks ago, I saw the Chief Justice of Uganda, my elder brother and friend, Justice Owinyi Dolo, saying on the issue of Balala, I wrote a column, and I said, Justice Owinyi Dolo, this dispute of the Balala may eventually come to your hand as Chief Justice. Now, if you are so passionate and public about it, tomorrow when this matter comes to you, won't people think that you have a vested interest?
Yeah.
And I saw him now attacking me, saying when he was opening the new lawyer, he made a false accusation. He said, instead of asking a lawyer Kandiho's question about Balala and so on, he said, the other day I saw Fonopondo, he had been hired by other people to attack me. I did not attack him. I wrote my column.
Thank you. You are giving Abdul a chance to come in. Message here, Innocent says, it is very interesting how Honorable Katesh is addressing the messenger, not the message. Let's give scrutiny.
The Bible says,
you have enjoyed 15 minutes.
Like Justice Owinyi thought he had an issue with me. He should have called me.
Ivan,
if not,
you're on microphone now. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, go on.
Thank you,
Yeah. Go on.
Oscar.
Yeah. Gentlemen, please keep calm. You've had your minutes of fame. Ivan,
I think these blazers needed to sort out the quite outside the studio. But I want to start with clarifying what Honorable Semuju said. He alleged that the issues in the Parliament, that the NRM and the government have issues with the Speaker, or insinuated some people have issues with the Speaker and they want to recruit the Semujus and the people into shredding her. Oscar and the listeners, the issue is being raised are not there's nothing personal about the speaker. The monies involved are public monies. The Speaker of Parliament occupies a public office. She owes a duty of accountability to the public she serves. Nobody is critiquing her for what she's doing in her private time.
In fact, our regular listener, Gift, says Katesh is not honest in that one, saying who's funding the Uganda Parliament exhibition. This is started with potholes.
Yes.
So then from potholes to health. Now it is Parliament.
NGOs and all. So the issue here, Oscar.
Yeah.
The
issue, no one is listening. Please go ahead.
The issue, Oscar, here is the Parliamentary Commission's abuse of power, of its institutional and autonomous power. Because you see, the essence of putting in place a Parliamentary Commission was to give Parliament autonomy, both in power and finances, so that it can do a good job checking, executing its accountability function to check the executive and the other as an independent arm of government. What they didn't envisage, or perhaps what now we know they wrongly assumed, was that this would be the occupants of this office would be men of integrity beyond repute. What we are seeing now, you see, what we call abuse is, like Honorable Semuju hinted, you are in a parliamentary commission, you have power to determine your own emoluments and benefits. You sit just in the first 2 years of your leadership of parliament, you revise your per diem, your travel per diem from $900 to $4,000 per day. That is an almost 500% increment. And you're doing this in a context where government has been talking about frugality, hiring freezes in the government, where we are saying, let's hold tight and use public resources prudently. The second thing, you are the institution tasked with the mandate of holding others accountable, scrutinizing budgets and all of this. What signal does it? It may be legal because the law gives you power to determine these environments. But is it ethical? Is it moral? Is it sensitive to the existing public mood that you revise figures at such staggering numbers in such and such a time? That is the first question. For the Honorable OO has just given an example of some of this abuse.
You said the Honorable OO.
No, I said OO. He's also an honorable person. He's an honorable.
You know what we go through.
In Mulana, those of you who have the title honorable, and you picking money under the table.
Oscar.
I have only your microphone on. Keep calm.
Yes. I need the protection.
Patricia, get me some water to give to, especially upon
I need to be protected.
Yes, only your microphone is on.
Because I was giving an example. Gave an example here of the speaker, or at least documents imputing that the speaker was drawing these staggering per diem figures in one day, on apparently in two different situations. Yes, I said apparently. I said the documents.
You quote documents that are not
Katesh, Ivan was silent when you presented.
Exactly.
Asserting that you have that it is a fact. No. You see, this is a national radio. We cannot engage in speculation.
I do not know. I do not know why Katesh.
No, you should.
I have said. Yes.
All the MPs are annoyed.
Yes. I need
Please,
protection.
You are protected.
And they don't owe
can have
Yes. Exactly, that are in the public domain.
Yeah.
And the OO has said these documents have been in the public domain for now a week.
Yes.
Parliament, the Honorable Mr. Chris Obore, the Director of Communications, only came out on the matter of the Honorable Mpuga.
And
he did
confirmed.
not say anything about the figures attributed to the speakers to the Speaker of Parliament. Now we have another document that the Accounting Office of Parliament, the Honorable Adolf Mwesige, drew the same per diem on 4th January 2024 in two places. He was also supposed to be in Nairobi, Kenya, to attend a seminar for 9 days, and simultaneously in Paris, France, to attend an IBA conference for also 7 days. And he was drawing per diem of $870 per day for 14 days in 2 different occasions at the same time. You see, that is the accounting officer of Parliament. So what this shows, Oscar, is that the Parliamentary Commission is obviously abusing its power, and it cannot be checked. They hold the appropriatory powers, so the people will not check them, the ministers will not speak because their budgets will have to be tabled. The accountability committees, which table the Auditor General's report and discuss it openly, cannot query them because a secondment to these committees must have the endorsement of the Speaker. So the Auditor General, who checks the government, reports to Parliament. The IGG, who is also the Ombudsman, also gets her budget appropriated by Parliament. So the question is, who should check the Parliamentary Commission? And I think that this is the conclusion now in the public in the public domain, that the Parliamentary Commission needs to be checked because they have, and the Honorable Semuju has confessed that members of Parliament are unofficially censured from querying this, because if you query, you will not speak, you will not travel, you will not have.
If you jump on the table,
on the table 3 times, you will not.
You are finished.
So for Semuju to be yes. So for the Honorable Semuju to continue to check the executive, he must not check Parliament. Because he must not check the leadership of Parliament. Because if he checks the leadership of Parliament, he will never be allowed to speak or to travel or to do or any other privileges attendant to the. I am interpreting. He said he's not an idiot. He said that he's not an idiot because he must be tactical in how he conducts. So if he must continue to speak up on other issues he's passionate about, he must be tactical in how he goes around. So he cannot attack her. So we need to now to shift the conversation. The lawyers need to guide us and know how to revise the autonomy or to check the autonomy of the parliamentary. Then that law will have to come to Parliament for Parliament to debate and pass that law. So what we are witnessing is state capture by Parliament because all the other agents supposed to check Parliament cannot, because it has appropriatory powers, and it is the chair holds all accountability committees. It is the Auditor General reports to them. The IGG's budget is appropriated by them. So who will check Parliament?
Abdul, appreciate that you are ready for this discussion.
What Ivan is saying, these cases you will encounter them. In Kasokoso.
But hold on.
Just a second. My people have been fighting with police over land. And police is arresting them. We have nowhere to go. Because they are the ones who are responsible for arresting. You can only report to police, yet they are the ones who are going to arrest you.
Are you as well prepared as OO and Ivan?
OO was even jumping. As he made the point.
I'm not sure I can match their preparedness.
Yeah.
Because I think they
To end all this.
No, it hasn't ended.
No, to end all this.
Go to the microphone.
To end all this debate, let the members of Parliament adversely named to have been traveling publish their passport pages in the last 6 months. 2, let immigration give us
just hold a bit. Don't deny Malcolm's presentation. I'll come back to you.
And this will end.
I think that's a little excessive from OO in terms of the kind of accountability that we are looking for, because rather than
now Katesh should be the moderator. He's getting everyone to keep quiet. Go on, Malcolm.
But I think that what Ivan ends by saying there is a state capture by Parliament, and before there was capture by Pineti, and so clearly there is capture everywhere. And I would like to agree with him that there is capture of state institutions, because you spoke earlier about these exhibitions and how they have come around. The exhibition started with potholes, went to health, went to civil society at some point, is now at Parliament. When you are in the hot seat, when it is you being scrutinized, that is when it becomes uncomfortable. And the parliamentarians' faces here, and it's understandably so. But you see, and it's because in the court of public opinion, you're actually, unlike in our normal, you're guilty until you prove yourself innocent. That is how it is. Everyone is going to begin to look at the burden shifts, and it's more than just what it is. It's what it looks like as well. And that's why the Honorable Mpuga is facing the challenge that he's facing. That's why it's going to be very difficult for the Speaker of Parliament to address, because there's so much around her that looks like opulence. And then when you marry that with what is being revealed now, it begins to make sense, to add up. And probably you can't blame Ivan for choosing to believe the documents that he's seeing online. But true, this can be taken advantage of as well. I think that we should be scrutinizing the processes, because the people will always change. There will always be different people coming in. I do not think that there was an assumption that parliamentary commissioners will be such judicious people that they cannot be able to be checked at all. There are processes for checking them. You can check them in the courts of law. However, in the courts of law, you also worry because there is capture. There we were discussing recently about how when the judiciary has been captured, where do you go? Because you need to go back to the judiciary. So I think that whereas the ideas are understandable, and Honorable Katuntu talked about and I think it's what called equivalenting, but trying to equate what is happening in the opposition with what is happening in government and those positions. I do not know. Honorable Semuju is a minister, a shadow cabinet minister, and is expected to check his fellow. He's expected to check his fellow minister and the excesses that they are going in under. However, the budget that he has access to is nowhere near what the others have.
Let him finish. Let him finish. Let him finish.
Yes.
Actually, shadow minister is also paid.
Yes.
An allowance.
Yes.
For being a shadow minister.
1.5 million.
The equivalent.
1.5 million per month.
The equivalent, it is there, even for shadow ministers.
But I don't know, listeners, that we have been allowed 10 minutes. So you'll get a chance. Okay. Though the MPs want the show to finish, but we are the ones who have sponsored the 10 minutes. And if we are to have that debate, and it could be a progressive one, that we are starting with the leader of opposition versus the leader of government business, we will progress to. But we are actually part of we are having a conversation, an open and genuine conversation about the need to provide adequate remuneration to the people that actually hold these holds offices. Just lastly, that the idea of social media activism, which is what this exhibition is should actually be welcomed by the very parliamentarians who are here, because we know that there are several avenues for attempting to hold public officers accountable. There are several avenues for sharing information. When this information comes, whereas you need to check the veracity of its source, you don't then just throw it away simply because it has come. The source might be questionable, but is the information valid? And what do you do with it? How do you bring a good thing out of it? Make some lemonade with those lemons that have been thrown at us? And how do we ensure that we are able to check parliamentary commission and the excesses that are there? So 1 minute in the 10 minutes that we've been allocated, 7 to go. I give him half.
The onus is on the leadership of our country, starting with the president, like we said here. Tata Muhozi. Tata Muhozi. Now, to make sure that we live up to what we have said ourselves, that we shall be transparent, we shall be accountable to the public.
Thank you.
In the specific case of Parliament, I said earlier on, to end this debate, if it is not true, just bring your passport and say, I've never traveled to Kenya. Never traveled to Rwanda,
and I do not have that money.
Spain, and that will
even
end.
If you don't bring the passport, if you just say I have never, it is a big.
You remember in 2010, at the scandal of the OPM, there was a report, purported auditor report, which said the First Lady in 1 week had traveled to Israel 3 times. And the first lady came out and said, here, I have not trouble. And that matter ended.
Semuju,
So-
you're 1 minute.
As I said at the beginning, Oscar, I think the leadership of Parliament and us MPs must correct mistakes where they have happened. Because the moment you are criticized, some of the criticism is meant to improve you. But also, as I said, there are people who are going to take advantage of anything and even exaggerate. And I know Fonopono is one of them. Because he has his own issues.
He has
with
been
the-
waiting since yesterday, as you know.
I have seen him. He was almost walking naked on Kampala streets because of this. So they are. I am not concluding. Oscar. So there will be, because in the NOP you have had an ongoing fight.
Yeah.
So anything will be received and exaggerated. But I think as Parliament we must not assume that we can be beyond scrutiny.
Okay. Abdul, your 1 minute.
Accountability is accountability. And as I said at the beginning of this show, on my contribution, any public office is subject to scrutiny, and the spotlight is not okay. My only problem is whenever there is some information out there, one, before we judge, especially the one which comes on social media, try to look into it and see, could this be true or not?
Okay.
And lastly, about this particular 500 and my brother Mpuga. You see, Oscar, when we are founding FDC, you got all of us from different background and throw of us in the same party. We came with different intentions and so on, and chances that we are going to end up where we have ended up were high. So is this NUP, when it was founded up, from all others, from a stage, others from a bank, others from
Thank you.
Uganda. They came
Katesh,
together.
your 1 minute.
Chances that it could end up like it is
You know, Oscar,
were high.
first of all, there is social media activism. It's good if it is focusing on issues of accountability, like my colleague has mentioned. But I have been a victim of social media blackmail. There is a time someone said that I was earning 400 million a week as a commissioner. And I know some people, including on this table, who quickly jumped on it. You know?
Who? Semuju?
No. No. So I want to say, and no. Listen. And I want to say,
You are left with half a minute.
No, O is my friend. Sometimes we hit each other on the side. But you see,
when no is your friend, you don't need
I
enemies.
listened to Capital Gang. I've been a listener of Capital Gang. And O has been is my brother. He has been, even at home, we have shared a cup of tea. But I want to say that as a public, sometimes you have to take social media issues with caution. They are a quicker route to bring people down very quickly. Because you see, by the time you explain yourself, I mean,
You've been condemned.
you know, you have already been condemned. There are people whom I meet and they are apologizing over comments they made over social media blackmail.
Thank
Even
you.
4
Thank
years
you.
down the line.
In a
So-
1.5 minutes left, let's have Ivan close this down.
First, I think I have said what I have to say on this matter. I think that one point, though, that the attrition rate of Parliament is between 60 to 70%. So every 5 years, about 60 to 70% of members of Parliament do not return to the House. That is why what the Honourable Semuju was suggesting is the right thing to do. That if we were saying that laws are passed to apply prospectively and not retrospectively, it would be a decent thing, because the MPs would legislate prudentially, knowing they are not they will not be the immediate beneficiaries of their own laws. That would go a long way in checking in this excess. Finally, and related to this, I have been assigned by the producer of the show, Patricia. No, this is not an advert, but there is a regular listener of this show. I think over the last 20 years, my friend Ram Gumamwene Yonjera, he's been a listener of this show for the last, I think, 20 years. In 2016, he suffered a stroke, and he has been grounded since then, for now close to 7 years. But he never misses either the Capital Gang or Desert Island Discs, and he's written routinely about this show. So recently he asked that the gang gets him this book by Onapito Komolite, Trials and Triumphs, and autographs, all the gangsters autograph a copy for him.
Okay. Thank you.
So I have done the honors of procuring the book, and I would like to request the gangsters officially to autograph a copy for Mwene Onjera.
Thank you. That's a good way to end the show. Thank you, listeners of the Capital Gang, for listening in today. Thank you very much, the members of Parliament on the show.
I've seen how members of Parliament can be rowdy and reasonably when their issues are tackled.
Yes, so thank you. I am Oscar Semoya Msoke, and I shall see you next week. Thank you, Star Cafe, as well.